The following is an AZPM original production.
Arizona Science is supported by Research Corporation for Science Advancement.
For Arizona Public Media, I'm Tim Swindle, Professor Emeritus of Planetary Science at the University of Arizona, and this is Arizona Science. Joining me today is Peter McMahon, the Operations Manager of the Visitors Center for the Kitt Peak National Observatory southwest of Tucson. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Tim.
Peter, I understand that the Kitt Peak Observatory, or KPNO, is observing several important anniversaries this year, correct?
It is, yes. So we're celebrating 60 years of public tours for both daytime and evening tours. This is the anniversary that we've been looking forward to for so long, to look back and see all the amazing things that have been discovered by researchers at the observatory and the outreach that has helped put that out to the public.
How many telescopes are there on Kitt Peak?
So depending on what we refer to as a telescope versus an observatory versus arrays of telescopes, there are at least 22 major telescopes on Kitt Peak, and that makes it possibly the largest concentration of major optical research telescopes and outreach telescopes on Earth.
There are now other ground-based telescopes that are bigger than those at Kitt Peak, not to mention space telescopes like the Hubble and the James Webb. How has that changed the way that KPNO operates, or has it changed?
You know, while there are this new generation of space telescopes and even new generation of ground-based telescopes with adaptive optics that to an extent cancel out the distorting effects of the Earth's atmosphere, we're seeing on a daily basis a tremendously important role for a lot of the telescopes on Kitt Peak to play. The largest telescope, optical telescope on the mountain, the 4-meter Mail telescope, is over the last few years has been undertaking the DESI, D-E-S-I survey, which is Dark Energy Spectroscopic Instrument survey of basically the entire universe, and mapping out the distribution of galaxies and how they're moving as the universe expands to glean new insights into dark energy. So that telescope is doing cutting-edge research at or surpassing the level that really any other telescope on Earth is doing. And then we've got telescopes like the McMahon Pierce Solar Telescope, which was actually decommissioned in 2017, but it's found new life as an outreach center. And so the Visitor Center has taken on that telescope as what eventually will be our flagship area for public outreach.
What is going to be happening with the McMahon Pierce?
Well, that's really exciting. So this telescope is basically the size of the Statue of Liberty. I mean, we have telescopes for the Visitor Center that are impressive probably to most backyard astronomers, even ones that have really big, substantial backyard observatory setups. We've got some pretty substantial instruments on the mountain for public outreach. But McMahon is really in another category. It's got a 2-meter main optical element called a heliostat that brings light down onto an observing table through a series of mirrors. And essentially, we're able to, once we resurrect those optical elements, we'll be able to see, not through an eyepiece, but projected onto an observing table, a live image of the sun in the daytime and the moon at night that's 3 feet wide. So imagine, instead of looking through a telescope eyepiece, you're seeing this live, living, breathing view of the sun and all sorts of granulation and flames and things on the edge, and detail of the moon so exquisite that the Apollo astronauts actually used the view through that telescope to, first of all, help in selecting landing sites for the Apollo missions, and second of all, as sort of a training tool for doing those landings. We're also going to have a number of interactive exhibits in that space under the McMahon called the Window Center, as well as theaters and some other exhibits that involve spaces where you can visualize the universe in all sorts of 3D and collaborative ways. But the really great thing, I think, about that whole telescope and what we'll be able to do public outreach-wise there is that it really blurs the line between what is a telescope, what is an observatory, what is a science center. There are other science centers that are in observatories or buildings that have observatories, but this is a science center that's actually in the structure of the telescope itself. And we believe that this will be the world's first science center that's actually inside a telescope.
Well, thank you for coming in, Peter.
You're very welcome.
Our guest today has been Peter McMahon of Kitt Peak National Observatory. This is Tim Swindle, and you have been listening to Arizona Science. You can also listen to this and other Arizona Science segments by going to the AZPM website at azpm.org.
Thank you to Research Corporation for Science Advancement for their support of Arizona Science. AZPM podcasts are made possible in part by donations from listeners like you. Learn more at support.azpm.org. Thank you.